Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this presentation from the National Headquarters of the Theosophical Society in America. My name is John Gianchosi. I'm the Director of Public Programs, and I am very happy to be with you this evening. The goal of the Theosophical Society is to help people explore the spiritual path so as to arrive at a deeper understanding regarding the wisdom of the ages. Furthermore, we feel that this wisdom is not limited to any one tradition, and thus we offer programs from a variety of traditions. During this time when our national headquarters is closed due to the coronavirus pandemic, we can still bring you many programs through our online offerings. I do encourage you to scroll down on the programs on our website and you'll see the programs that are currently on offer. And I'm sure you'll find many of them of interest to you. Of course, we are continuing with our Thursday evening lecture series, and this evening we are very happy to be able to introduce a frequent presenter, Christina Pateros. Christine is a painter, a spiritual guide, a healer, a teacher, and steward of spiritual journeys to sacred lands. She owns a healing practice and also creates fine collectible paintings available through galleries and by commission. Her shamanic practice offers cleansing and clearing of beings and spaces. And tonight she will be speaking on Shamanic Experiences, Art, Healing, and Encounters with the Soul. Enjoy, Christina Pateros.
Hi, and welcome to Shamanic Experiences, Art, Healing, and Encounters with the Soul. I'm Christina Pateros, and it's my honor to be here with you all, invited by the Theosophical Society in America. It is my honor to be able to present this to you as a journey. This is a journey through art, through shamanic experience, ecstatic experience, through experiencing others' ways to express themselves through various forms of art, paintings and dance and performance art. So it is absolutely a joy for me to be here with you today, as these are my passions. I am an artist, I'm a painter primarily. I am also a shamanic practitioner and an energy healer. And this is my passion, to combine these pieces so that we can express our souls and experience and exchange. So even through this medium of online exchange, we are exchanging energy because everything is energy. So in framing the talk, as I speak about shamanic experiences relative to art, healing, and the soul, let's define those pieces. What is a shamanic experience? For me, it's really about connection to the divine, connection to something other than myself, to spirit, to creator. It's magical, mystical, heart-centered. I can feel it inside of myself. It's an experience that draws one to divine ecstasy, potentially. What is that? Being outside of time, interaction between the human and the spirit worlds. And art can absolutely bring us there in many forms. Healing, the definition of healing that really resonates for me is to make whole, and reclamation of power. Now, to make whole can mean that we are in pieces. And for me, that is not what to make whole means. It's the reclamation of ourselves. It's the reclamation of our beings. It's the reclamation of our souls. And how do we then bring that out into the world? And for me, in part, it's through art and with the artists that I'll be sharing with you in this presentation. It is their ways as well. It's the expression of their souls, of their essence, which is really the soul piece then, that spiritual, non-physical piece, which is sometimes referred to as essence. So we'll go ahead and start, and I'm going to be sharing my screen here along the way. And here. This is one of my works, Rainbow Hummingbird. Shamanic Experiences, Art, Healing, and Encounters with the Soul. So this was an encounter of magical soul connecting with this condor that appeared in the sky before me as I was on a walk in Winfield, Illinois. I was praying, I was lost and feeling lost, and I was really asking for a sign. And in the sky above me, this is what appeared. And my eyes could not deny that this incredible being with incredible wings, which to me is a condor, appeared before me to not be able to miss. And the condor in the mythical realms that I practice in my shamanic work and the Peruvian work particularly, is one of seeing that big picture along with incredible acuity, and that everything is energy. Here is Don Agustin, a Q'ero shaman from Peru, descendants of the Inca, one of my teachers, one of my colleagues, blowing into the coca leaf, blowing in prayers, calling in the helping spirits, calling in the mountains, the apus. And what is so incredible about this depiction in this picture that I took watching him is that his luminous energy field is clear, something that I don't see with my eyes and most people do not see. Some very intensely connected people actually see with their eyes energy. This is a mystical experience of my own in the chapel of Saint-Pierre de Paris in Montmartre, Paris. As I sat and prayed with my beloved there, these colors appeared on the pillars. And of course, they're the colors coming through from the sunlight and the stained glass windows. But there was something else present here at this moment. And I sat and cried and felt with all emotion incredibly, incredibly intensely, and just trusted and knew that this was a divine spirit that was present with me. And as I walked out of the chapel, the church, in the back, there's a statue of Notre Dame de Paris, Our Lady of Paris, and on the plaque underneath, it said that Our Lady of Paris is the patron saint of artists. Of course, this was intensely meaningful for me. This is a double rainbow, and I was in the car. I didn't take the picture. My daughter took the photo while I was driving. But in this photo, with the juxtaposition of yield sign and this double rainbow with a third line of rainbow unfolding, appearing, really spoke to me as this incredible mystical experience of slow down and take a look at the mystical nature of your life. So this was undeniable. This is a mundane, everyday picture, it would seem. I'm standing in line here in COVID-19 in the midst of the pandemic, really probably the beginning of the pandemic as we sit with it now, here in June 2020. And it just struck me so intensely as I stood in line, a mundane, normal, everyday piece of going to the grocery store. This is Trader Joe's in line. And yet here we all are in our masks with the pandemic and standing in line, not even be able to go into the grocery store like we just normally would be able to and even took for granted. Certainly I did. And yet these majestic Flatiron Mountains are behind us past the parking lot, past McDonald's, just holding this energy and this spirit, really what I felt saying to me, it's okay, we're going to get through this. We are okay, we will be okay. And this was a truly mystical experience for me in just a mundane everyday. And I included this because not everybody needs to go and travel internationally or seek out mystics from the mountains or the jungle. This is everyday. Life is ceremony. Every moment can be this, as we are absolutely grounded in this middle world. We can be in these other dimensions as well. And here is an ecstatic experience of mine in the Amazon jungle this past February 2020. I was deep in an immersion with women from all over the world. And I'm here standing holding a cacao pod fresh off the cacao tree. So this was ecstasy for me in being able to eat this raw cacao. And I was also the cacao carrier to our facilitators. So this was a very, very special moment that again, just lit me up in a way that really became this divine, heart-centered, magical experience in that moment. This is a boulder, as you can see, and there is a face. And this is a hike in Rocky Mountain National Park, Fern Lake, for those of you who know it, or for those of you who may want to journey there. And it's a hike that I take very often living here in Colorado. So I know this path. And I was here with my friend Mary on the path and saw the face on this boulder and stopped and said, Mary, I have never seen this face before as many times as I've taken this hike. So we got closer to this face. It was not carved in the rock. This is not an intentional carving. This was a spirit appearing in this boulder, in this rock. And I knew immediately that it was the mountain that I had honored before we started out on this hike. I had taken the hike the week before with my daughter, Lexi, and we hit a thunderstorm, as it does in the Rocky Mountains in the afternoons. And it was scary. It was thundering and lightning, and we were running down the mountain. Literally, we ran down 4.5 miles. On this day, I honored the mountain before we set out. I brought a flower and thanked the mountain. And I know the mountain was speaking to us, appearing to us, showing us that the mountain was for real in spirit, and we could not deny its existence here. And we walked to the other side of this boulder, and it was flat, and then came to this side where the face was, and the face was gone. And this is an absolutely divine experience of pure beauty. This is the Amazon jungle, again, in Peru, with the sky, the clouds, the trees, and the water in the pond. And it was truly a moment of absolute pure beauty and immersion. And these are, for me, shamanic experiences and viewing art, which, as we dive into the art and artists in a few moments, can be these ecstatic, these magical, these beautiful moments and experiences just through the art. This is a trout fish in the lake at the top of that hike that I mentioned with the boulder and the face a few slides ago. And this trout just appeared. And Mary pointed it out and said, look at the fish. And just sat there, floating there as we sat and chatted, took our little break before we headed back down the mountain. The entire time, just sitting there, just so incredibly inexplicable, this beautiful being just sitting there with us. So this was a magical experience for me as well, a shamanic experience. And this again in Peru, which is one of my places that I've trained and where my teachers are, where I immerse. I've been there 9 times. I bring groups there. And in my last trip there in the Andes in February of 2020, I knew I was going to seek out this woman who creates these paints out of the powders of plants. I don't know if she actually makes them, but as an artist, this was a dream come true to have her be able to be putting these different colors in these packets for me so that I could bring them home and create with these magical colors from the earth. And this is a piece as we dive into, transition into the art, the actual art and the artists. This is a painting of mine called Wonder. And wonder to me is absolutely just the embodiment of curiosity and infinite possibilities. So I wanted to share this as we transition now into the art pieces, starting with historical art. And these are the caves of Lascaux in France. And these, of course, are some of the cave drawings that are ancient depictions and proof of art from as long as man has been, as far as we know, around. And these are the Kimberley Cave drawings from Western Australia, the Mo Wanjum Aboriginal community, and 4,000-year-old drawings of these mystical elements of the Wajina cloud and rain spirits. And the Aboriginal communities presently repaint these beautiful depictions so that these spirits will be alive and around them. And this is a great place just to connect into that feeling and that knowing that artists create through many ways, dream states and ecstatic trances, and through fasting, through dancing, through psychedelic plant medicine. For me, it's connecting to the spirits, and then they flow through me and they come through my fingers onto the substrate of canvas and paper. This is a Cretan Goddess. This is a sculpture made of clay. And in this beautiful piece that was found by archaeologists on Crete, in the Minoan cultures, you can see the incredible size of those arms and those hands. And we see that it's a woman in this goddess culture of the Minoan culture. You can see the breasts depicted there, but the oversized arms and hands, and this by archaeologists and historians, is depicted as invocation, in the power of that invocation with her arms and her hands. And in this, I want to thank all of the artists that are here depicted in this presentation and who are here with us, guiding me to be able to share with you, and guiding each and every one of us through the spirit of creativity. May it flow through each and every one of us every single day, and may we feel it, and may we trust it, and may we express it. And thanks to all of the helping spirits, to Mother Earth and Father Sky, and to Earth, Air, Fire, and Water, and Ether, and all of the magic and all of the possibilities of life. This is a curation that I'd like to share with you, In Search for the Soul of the Creature. This is a curation that I've created, and this is truly honoring historical art in the form of the unicorn tapestries, which are seen and they live in the cloisters of the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York in Upper Manhattan. And this is a pairing with some of my modern art, and I'd like to share it with you now. In search of the soul of the creature. In feeling into soul, we delve into essence, psyche from the Greek, moving spirit, animating force. And creature, simply put, is something created, live, or known in material realm, or alternatively imaginary, or known only in our mind's eyes. In searching for the soul of the creature, we invite the suspension of our disbelief and allow our minds to wander. And it is in this wandering we can imagine colorful possibilities. The larger-than-life unicorn tapestries, each panel is 12 feet tall and up to 14 feet wide, are a suspension of the known in their own brilliant essence. As the artist, weavers, and commissioner are all an unnamed mystery. Dated to the medieval times of the late 16th to early 17th centuries, these 7 tapestries of French origin depict the mystical unicorn creature hunted, lamed, and killed, then magically resurrected. Life, death, and then life restored is the story woven from vibrant earth-toned plant-dyed wools, intricately detailed metallic threads, and rich silks. As seen in these panels, the hunters enter the woods, fragments of the mystic capture of the unicorn. And the unicorn is in captivity and no longer dead. The unicorn and other four-legged and two-legged beings are accompanied by the nature spirits of the plant world. In fact, over 85 plant species have been named by botanists who studied these works. The Tapestries artist depicts luscious life force prevailing in this mystical medieval forest. Amongst the dense green plant kingdom, the artist ultimately depicted a unicorn, reincarnated, emitting a confidence of one who knows and perhaps knew all along its own destiny, and being the magical creature that it is, that its essence would remain embodied. In a modern mystical forest of the 21st century, Christina Pateros places a luminous fairy in her own vibrant, color-filled world of plant allies, dressing this magical creature in earth-made stems, flower buds, and wings made of leaves. This human-like pixie seems at once an incarnation of mystical living spirit energy and a portal to unseen realms. Pateros makes a light-hearted, playful invitation to step into the work, into a game of peekaboo, and into these mystical realms. Pateros' two winged, beaked creatures in empowered vision and Sophia beckon and call the viewer to connect with them by entering into their eye windows, portals to connect to their spirit and to meet and feel their living essence. In this journey to the soul, these creatures emit a confident knowing, much like the unicorn reflecting an inner wisdom and ability to see destiny, perhaps beyond this manifest world, and perhaps to the depths of the psyche, allowing the journeyer to see parts of oneself as a reflection of this divine creature. It is as if Pateros has created creatures who can see into our eyes, deep into our most innermost feeling places, into the essence of our own souls, and reflect to us parts of ourselves that have been unseen or hidden. In this search for the soul of the creature, we can find ourselves reflected, perhaps reborn, or reincarnated, perhaps imagining ourselves with magical powers, and even reconnecting to our own essence through the orbs and energy of these precious beings. So with the magic of the unicorn tapestries and the creatures that come through me, Hilma af Klint is someone, as an artist who lived from 1862 to 1944, that I'd like to delve into right now. And frankly, Hilma af Klint, in this introduction really that I've had into her work, both preparing for this presentation and through the encouragement of other artists whom I know, one included Alyssa, I can tell you that I can do a whole hour on Hilma af Klint. So I've talked to John Chanchosi, the Director of Programs of the Theosophical Society, and look forward to making that proposal so that we can make that happen and be able to talk about Hilma af Klint for an entire hour. In the meantime, we're going to touch into Hilma af Klint and her work and connect into her website, which is the Hilma af Klint Foundation. As I mentioned, she did live from 1862 to 1944, and she's a Swedish-born artist. And this is Hilma af Klint. I'm going to share with you this site and some of her works. So Hilma af Klint, as I go to the share screen here, was interested in invisible relationships that shape our world. She devoted her life and work to an exploration of an invisible realm. She strongly believed in a spiritual dimension, and she had great interest in spiritual investigation. She joined the Theosophical Society in 1889 when she was 27 years old. She devoted her life and her work to an exploration of the invisible realm, and she was an active member of a group that included poets and inventors, journalists, doctors, scientists, and many, many women. I'm going to go ahead and play this video, this short video, so that you can learn more about Hilma af Klint and her work. This is from the Guggenheim Museum. She had an exhibit there in 2018 and 2019.
It goes beyond the visual. She was courageous in so many ways.
What's astounding is her bravery. There was nothing being made like this in the whole world.
The leap into full non-objective abstraction that just turned things on its head.
At the turn of the 20th century, the world was on the brink of dramatic change. Political, scientific, and cultural evolution fundamentally changed reality. Art was changing too. Painters like Vasily Kandinsky and Pete Mondrian began to replace perceived reality with science, natural color with symbolic color, representation with abstraction. A new expressive form emerged. In 1944, as war again raged in Europe, these two icons of abstract art died. Their legacy was secured. But that very same year, another artist passed, one whose work was yet unknown to the public. A female artist who worked to make the invisible visible. Who was she? Hilma af Klint, an artist for the future. In a career spanning 6 decades, Hilma af Klint produced hundreds of paintings and thousands of pages of writings and notes that are as confounding as they are revelatory. But she may have left the world with more questions than she did answers.
Hilma af Klint's abstract work predates the work by artists that we have long considered the pioneers of abstraction. Af Klint, working apart from those artists, just doesn't fit into our story.
Born in Sweden in 1862, af Klint was among the earliest women to study at the Royal Academy of Fine Arts in Stockholm. She painted botanical studies, landscape paintings. Here's a self-portrait. But her experience with spiritualism and the science of the day sparked her interest in new ideas.
Whether it's Christian, Rosicrucian, Theosophical, she explored many different spiritual realms.
Af Klint began to conduct seance sessions with a group of like-minded women. They called themselves the Five. Here's the table they met at. Here's an altar they built. Together they would communicate with spirits as mediums. The guides they encountered would send them messages, which eventually took the shape of art. One of these seance sessions proved to be fateful. In 1906, a spiritual guide commissioned af Klint to prepare an artistic message for humankind. From January to November of that year, she did just that, in secret.
This commission that she receives becomes really her life work.
In the period between 1906 and 1915, af Klint produced 193 paintings that attempted to represent the spirit of the world.
She had complete and total faith that it contained meaning, and meaning that was essential to how the universe is put together.
A mystical, idiosyncratic geometry emerged.
They look like sacred geometric languages. So it's living. It's a living being, her work.
Colors took on gender roles. Blue, female. Yellow, male. Green, the unity of the two. Forms began to interlock or even come into collision, like this series of swans. Botanical studies took aside watercolors, the energy of those plants. Words and letters, sometimes indecipherable, populated the frame. Af Klint charted and codified these images and her philosophy in an expansive series of notebooks.
it's beautiful. I mean, it's poems, what she's writing.
She was creating a kind of library of ideas.
The 10 largest are among her earliest abstract paintings, and some of the first ever made.
The scale of the 10 largest is really remarkable.
Gigantic, beautiful, bright pink images.
The subject is just as monumental as the paintings themselves. The 10 paintings go through the lifespan of humans from birth to old age.
And it's suddenly like the world might be different.
Klimt rarely exhibited this work, keeping these paintings and hundreds like them from public view for her entire life. She even stipulated that her works not be shown for 20 years after her death. Why Klimt withheld much of her work from contemporary criticism remains a mystery. Was the public simply not ready? Did she break too much ground?
I wish that I could ask her myself. I don't think she wants it to be clear. It's a journey. It's for you to figure out. It's more complicated than that.
There's something so powerful in Hilma's work. It's really wonderful that she allowed us to save the message until now.
She was looking to the future for a time when there would be a viewer who would understand the messages that she felt she was putting out in these paintings.
Ideas always expanded beyond the edge of the canvas for Klimt. The spiral, an ever-recurring motif across her paintings, extended to her plans for the work's eventual exhibition. She made sketches for a circular building to house her paintings, where viewers would take in the work as they ascended a spiral staircase towards the heavens.
I hope that translated for you as much as it translates for me. Every time I watch it, I am filled, my heart expands, and I hope that translated for you, just viewing those little bits of Hilma af Klint's works. And I want to share, just in closing, with the fact that she used her own work to understand the invisible worlds, to understand the world in all of its manifestations. And this is so inspiring to me as an artist. So from here, I'd like to share moving on to another artist. And here we have a cluster of artists. We have Frida Kahlo and Ralph Arnold, Anna Halprin, Marina Abramovich, Faith Knowlton, Shakar Jakarendi, and myself, Christina Pateros. I'd like to start with Frida Kahlo in this cluster of artists. Frida Kahlo, of course, a Mexican artist, and one who really, for me, embodies the making of art as a source of healing. Frida Kahlo is remembered for her self-portraits, pain and passion, and bold, vibrant colors. This is from the fridakahlo.org website in her biography. She is celebrated in Mexico for her attention to Mexican and indigenous culture, and by feminists for her depiction of the female experience and form. Kahlo, who suffered from polio as a child, nearly died in a bus accident as a teenager. She suffered multiple fractures of her spine, collarbone and ribs, a shattered pelvis, broken foot, and dislocated shoulder. She began to focus heavily on painting while recovering in a body cast. In her lifetime, she had 30 operations. Life experience is a common theme in Kahlo's approximately 200 paintings, sketches, and drawings. Her physical and emotional pain are depicted starkly on canvases, as is her turbulent relationship with her husband, fellow artist, Diego Rivera, who she married twice, not once, but twice. Of her 143 paintings, 55 of those paintings are self-portraits. So you can see here on the left that she is painting her body cast. She was not an artist before that bus accident, but became one in the process of her healing. And her father created this easel for her to use in bed so that she could do something to connect. As she laid there, mostly immobile, she could move her arms and her head, but she could not get out of bed. So this is so powerful in the realm of art as healing, and the creation of art as in the process of healing. The devastation to her body from the bus accident is shown in stark detail in the broken column. Kahlo is depicted nearly naked, split down to the middle, with her spine presented as a broken decorative column. Her skin is dotted with nails. She is also fitted with a surgical brace. This is the epitome of really her experience clearly, and what must have been incredible pain and suffering for her. This piece is The Little Deer, a painting where she used a young deer with the head of herself. A deer that was her pet, actually, is the deer that she used as the model in painting this. She put her own head on this deer, which was fatally wounded by arrows, as you can see. The background is the forest with dead trees and broken branches, which implied the feeling of fear and desperation, as this curator describes. Far away is the stormy, lightning-lit sky, which brings some hope, but the deer will never be able to reach it. In 1946, Frida Kahlo had an operation on her spine in New York. She was hoping this surgery would free her from the severe back pain, but it failed. This painting expressed her disappointment towards the operation. After she went back to Mexico, she suffered both the physical pain and emotional depression. In this painting, she depicted herself as a young stag with her own head crowned with antlers. This young stag is pierced by arrows and bleeding. At the lower left corner, the artist wrote down the word karma, which means destiny or fate. Just like her other self-portraits, in this painting, Frida expresses the sadness that she cannot change her own fate. She used her pet deer, as I mentioned, Granizo, as the model when she painted this portrait. She had many pets, which she used as her surrogate children, and deer were her favorite kind. And this strikes me particularly with this union, which is so shamanic, melding an animal with the human, and that she melded herself with a deer, and obviously a tortured, if not dying or dead, deer. And what's so interesting to me about this is that deer, in its energy, shamanic animal guide and animal spirit, is such a gentle spirit, such a quiet animal. And yet she made herself a buck. So a strong being that can fight and can defend itself. So that really strikes me about this piece and Frida Kahlo's depiction of herself as this buck. Moving on to the next artist, Ralph Arnold. Ralph Arnold was a native Chicagoan, an artist, a professor of art, an activist, and a veteran of the United States military. These are two of his works, Blue Mirage and an Untitled. These are both from the 1970s. And I want to share with you the memoriam of Ralph Arnold and some pieces that are very personal to me and to my family. So Ralph Arnold, being the American artist that he was and a native from Chicago, was a friend of my family's. And it is such an honor for me to be able to include him in this. And I don't know that Ralph Arnold would have ever expressed himself as a shamanic artist, but I propose that he was. I grew up with Ralph Arnold's work on the walls of our little home, our our 3-flat in Logan Square in Chicago. I'd like to read this memoriam of Ralph Arnold. Ralph Arnold was born in Chicago on December 5th, 1928. He was raised in Tennessee in suburban Chicago. After high school, Ralph joined the U.S. Army and served in Korea. He received an honorable discharge in 1953 and went on to attend the University of Illinois and Roosevelt University. He received his master's degree from the Art Institute of Chicago in 1976. It was at the Art Institute of Chicago where my father met Ralph Arnold and his partner, Bill Frederick. After college, Ralph taught at numerous colleges and universities throughout the Midwest. He was chair of the Fine Arts Department at Loyola University, Chicago, and an acclaimed lecturer in both contemporary American art history and studio art. It's very emotional for me to connect into this amazing being. Mr. Arnold was appointed 7 consecutive 4-year terms by the governor of the state of Illinois to the State Arts Council and was a member of the advisory board of the Illinois Arts Alliance, excuse me. Ralph was a tireless supporter of the arts in Chicago and an accomplished artist whose work can be found in private and public collections throughout the world, including the Whitney Museum of American Art, Cornell University, Fisk University, and the Cretan Art Museum. Ralph passed away on May 10th, 2006. He was an inspiration to artists everywhere, and he will be deeply missed by the foundation. The Paul's Foundation honors the memory of Ralph Arnold through a scholarship at the Chicago Academy for the Arts. And I want to share just this photo of Bill Frederick, who was Ralph Arnold's partner in life and in art. And to grow up with these 2 men in my life as a young child, a young girl, I have to trust and know was an inspiration for me now as an artist, for me as a person, to see this Black man and this white man love each other in life and as creative artists and beings, to grow up with that and to know that that was just part of my life, and to see them connected. And I just knew as a little girl they were this loving couple and these creative beings. So I'm so happy to share Ralph Arnold's work here in Blue Mirage and the Untitled from the 70s. And I want to share this piece, which is at the Whitney Museum of Art Celebration from 1970. And I'm going to go back to so these pieces, you can go onto ralpharnold.org if you'd like to delve in more deeply. I'm not sure if they're on that site or search, but Celebration certainly is on the Whitney Museum of Art site. And this to me depicts such joy and vibrancy of life. And I know that in this moment of June 2020, I'm so appreciative to be able to delve into this piece and feel some joy just by experiencing Ralph's work, because there's a lot of pain and suffering in the world right now. And I know that I'm personally feeling a lot of deep sadness and loss and anger. So to be able to delve into this is really, truly a gift. And this is the gift of art. So moving from Ralph to Anna Halprin. Anna Halprin is an American choreographer. She is 99 years old. And I will share with you a site from the internet and some experience of Anna directly. So I'm going to play this video and I'm going to read her artist statement as I play it so that you can see her directly, which is really, I could be talking about all of these artists, but I want you to experience them in this presentation, because it's experiencing without words, although I'm going to share her artist statement at the same time, for you to be able to delve in and to really experience who she is. I have an enduring love for dance and its power to teach, inspire, heal, and transform.
Wind, sky, clouds, earth, critters, little miniature dinosaurs, little lizards, deers, and crickets.
I've spent a lifetime of passion and devotion probing the nature of dance and asking why it is so important as a life force. I find great excitement in sharing my deep love of dance with ordinary and diverse people. Their unique creativity inspires me to make dances that grow out of our lives. I want to integrate life and art so that as our art expands, our life deepens, and as our life deepens, our art expands. As I sit on the bench overlooking my dance deck, of which she's dancing on here, a flood of questions arise. What next? Where am I going? What is my work now that I'm over 95? What do elders in other cultures do? Teach the young, heal the sick, care for the land, hold the rituals, speak with the ancestors and maintain the family. I take all these actions and call upon the spirits, wherever they may be, whatever they might mean, and however they might appear, to lead me further into this evolution of dance to which I've committed my life. I continue to believe in the shining potential set forth by all of this work in its evolution from rebellion to expansion to community to healing and back again. So this is Anna Halprin and the beautiful art of dance. What a connected, beautiful soul who is 99 years old. And I have to share that I've had the absolute honor of dancing with her at Esalen Institute in California. And what a high honor that was in my life. So moving forward, Marina Abramovic, sorry, I practiced and still didn't get it. Marina Abramovic is a Serbian performance artist. I'm going to share her website as well and dive into a couple short videos so that you can get to know her from her own words. What I love that Marina Abramovic shares is that she follows the intuition of her heart.
If I look back how everything started, it started in such a strange and kind of funny way. I think I was always jealous of Mozart because Mozart already made his first concert with a 7. I made when I was 12, my first exhibition. And my first works was just dreams, because the dream was given to me, so I will paint the dreams. After the dreams, I will go and actually was interesting in painting car accidents. And I will always take a little child car, put on the highway, and wait till the big truck will smash the child car. But this never really happened. And then I will go to my studio and paint these big trucks being smashed by the little child truck. It was a really like idea of the victory of innocence, that actually innocence you can't destroy ever. And after that period, I went to the sky and I was looking the clouds and the clouds. And I remember one day I was lying on the field and looking at the clouds, and there was no one cloud in the sky. It was just a blue sky. And I was looking for the clouds, but instead of clouds came 12 the ultrasonic military planes and make this incredible drawing on the sky. Well, the incredible interesting thing was that the drawing was there, and when the planes left, was still there, and then they slowly disappeared into nothingness. And then it was a blue sky again. And I think I had some kind of spiritual revelation, because I stood up and I understood that actually I will never go to studio again, that I can make the art with everything, that artists have this magic. They can make art from literally nothing if they want to. And the most important is the concept. So I went to the military base and I asked, military, whatever, the people there working, if they can give me 12 military planes to do my drawing. And they completely freak out. They say, you know how much costs to make such a drawing, and they throw me out. So I knew that I could not do certain concepts. But in the same time, I understood that actually I can work with the elements. I can work with the fire, with the water, with the earth, with the air, with anything I want. And this was the beginning of my really performance art. And the first time when I actually put my body into the front of audience, I understood this is my media.
As she follows the intuition of her heart, I just absolutely love that she speaks about painting her dreams and then just seeing the sky and knowing that performance art was her medium. So I'd like to share with you. So it is here at the Crystal Bridges Museum that Marina Abramovich created a piece with crystals. This is in Arkansas in the United States. And it's a crystal sculpture that she created. And I've not been there yet, but it is absolutely on my list as soon as we can all start really traveling again. And I want to share this with you as she describes visiting her own piece.
And it's very exciting to see in such an unbelievable cold weather. It's like a 30-degree up here, and it's autumn, and leaves are falling down, and it's the most romantic moment that this morning that I can encounter, my work. It's very beautiful and emotional. In this situation here in the Crystal Bridge is very special. A museum is an extension of nature, and nature is an extension of the museum. So somehow it's a kind of in-between territory. This is why these objects for me, they're okay here. So the public who interact with the sculpture, they have to stand for a longer period of time. The more actually time you spend, the more results you get. So you have to be at least 10 minutes or 15 or 3 hours in the front of these crystal towers. You really try to gently touch your forehead, your heart and your stomach against these crystals. And basically to empty yourself from the thinking process and just to come to the kind of state of emptiness and clear state of mind. If I will read the criticism of the 70s about my work when I started as a performance artist, I will never leave home. I have to really follow my intuition and my heart. And the art always had the controversy and always have the different opinions. So you should always see that sometimes when it's a big controversy, maybe this is actually something which is important, and only the society is not ready to accept it at that moment, but the next generation will.
I think the power in that for us now, in this time and place, is to express ourselves the way that our hearts want to express, and to trust that, and to know that it will be received when it can be received. And now more than ever in these times that we are in, I just want to express that we don't have any time to lose, to trust in expressing ourselves. Really with the intention and the knowing that by truly expressing ourselves from our hearts, whether it's with our loved ones, our beloveds, or with the world, that we are contributing to the soul of the planet. And now more than ever, I believe we need our souls, and we need to be connected, and we need to share the energy of the planet. We are the ones who are here to save ourselves. So, moving from the magic in the crystals of Marina Abramovich, we move to Faith Knowlton. Faith Knowlton is a living artist from the UK. And as I scroll through these pieces of hers, I'd like to share with you her artist statement. This shamanic art of connection and divine revelation, connecting to spirit and to other realms outside of time, is so powerful. And I hope that you can experience it as you view her art and I share her words. There is an ancient and ever-present natural relationship, a circle of life in which all things are related and connected. This web of energy is affected by our every action, thought, emotion, and intention. The words we speak and the pictures we make, it is a vast and mysterious weaving, a web of life. This sacred awareness, the presence of the unseen in the breath of the wind, and the radiant energy of flowers and sunlight, has always informed and inspired my painting and poetry. My work speaks of the Great Lodge, the many dimensions of reality, of this amazing Earth Mother we call home. So Faith Knowlton has a website as well. I encourage you to visit it, to see more of her work and to read more about her work, her descriptions. And I just want to say that she has a book, Gardens of the Soul, and this book has been an incredible, can't see my notes on there. I want to show her piece while I'm showing you this in the corner, but I have notes all throughout her book because this book, her way of expressing sacred art and expressing her process has been a huge influence on me and in my art, and I'm so grateful that she is still here to be able to create. Shakar Jacaranda. Shakar is a dear friend of mine, and I wanted to include Shakar here with some of her work. These are her rattles, and as you look at her rattles in these works, I'd like to share Shakar's words, that she is guided to make a rattle and rattles, that in her case, it is more about an image coming through that won't let her be until she paints it. I'm gonna read it in her words. In my case, it is more about an image coming through that won't let me be until I paint it. When I ignore the image, it becomes stronger, always before my eyes, present in my room, present on my walks, asking to be birthed. When I begin the painting, it is like the spirit flows into the canvas and is waiting to be highlighted with the colors of the paints, and it is like I'm swimming with the spirit inside the canvas. When I paint for someone else, a commission, such as these rattles, they tell me their dreams around it, what power animals or guides call to them, what words of power move them, call to them, and then it is like my energy connects with their energy, with their permission, and the images begin to flow. What flowers are right for them, what language to write the words of power in, which colors. For me, art is my dream and also my reality. So yes, when I am dreaming my art into being, I am happy. Art is me, and art is the road that guides me to myself and to my ancestors. It is such a joy for me to be able to share Shakar's work with you. And you can find her, make comments on this presentation wherever you see this, and I'll be posting the websites. So lastly, from this grouping, I include myself with joy to share my art, little bits of it, and my artist statement. I paint portals, eye windows, which are reflections of the soul. Using my fingers as the energy flows through them, and feathers and wood and water. Earth elements are often my paints and textures, feeling the essence of animals, places, people, and the land channeling through me to the canvas and paper. Colors transmute into form. These are some of my works. This tree is the Lucuma Tree in Peru at the retreat center that I call home when I am there. And this tree is such a life-giving force. Some believe it's 500 years old, 1,000 years old, but it is this incredible grandparent tree that informs the land and called the woman Carol, who founded this retreat center to the land. And I believe in the call, and the tree called me to paint him, her. And these other pieces are this painting that I made, mandala, and then I transferred that, not actual transfer, but then I painted it onto this elk drum. And it is a very feminine energy and spirit that when I play that drum, I should have pulled it here for you so you could all see it. Maybe I'll grab it as you look at these pieces. I'm just going to go grab that drum. So often I drum as I journey, and I don't drum while I'm painting, but I certainly journey around painting. And this wildcat appeared to me just recently, and it really showed up as the being of not backing down. And it came through me very strongly. And this was the process that I'm happy to share with you as this wildcat came through me. And there were photos of wildcats here in Boulder in the trees. And I do use photos if I can't see the animals in person as references. More often my own photos, but I've not seen a wildcat here. So I used photos that were posted. This is a bear, brown bear. And this is the way that I'd like to end this talk, is that art is ceremony, and that art can become ceremony. And I actually add the earth elements to the paintings. This is my most recent work and the way that I'm working. And both this wildcat and this bear were offered to the fire in ceremony as I released non-attachment and released these spirits who were flowing through me to the fire for transmutation and transfiguration and transformation, and in thanks for the energy of their beings. So these are pistachio nuts and tobacco and sage and some parts of flowers. And these are feathers and some animal fur and flowers. And here's an owl, and that same series that I'm really immersing in now is art as ceremony, and really using elements of nature and then offering these pieces to the fire. This is more ceremony with despacho ceremonies. Anyone who works with me knows that I work in the ancient Andean traditions and make these offerings to the fire as well. And this is Louis Tamini, again, very ceremonial. This is Shippo Guardian is the name of this piece from the Amazon. incredible medicine. And these are Shippo artists from the Peruvian Amazon, and seeing these incredible textiles and pieces, both woven and painted. And these marks that you see are the notes for the Icaros, that the Onayas, the healers of the Shippo people sing their medicine. And so in the sacred ceremonies, this is sung so that the medicine flows through their song, through their voice. And in the center is an incredible piece that was just being finished by this artist, whose name I'm so sorry that I can't read anymore on the painting. But this beautiful artist from Iquitos was completing this painting right before my very eyes. And I thank you, and I'm sorry that you are an unnamed beautiful artist. And Alex Gray, visionary artist, I am grateful to call one of my teachers as well, along with his wife, Allison Gray, their partners. And the deep, deep work of visionary art, which is art that is, again, this shamanic way of delving into other realms. It is very often through psychedelic medicine or plant medicine. And I profess that visionary art can be through any kind of journeying, not with just plant medicines, which is how I journey when I am painting, just through drum and through rattle. And so this is a series, The Soul Finds Its Way, The Seer, and Dying. And ending here with artists Detour and Hiergo Viega from Denver, painting a mural of George Floyd in these times of social unrest and great pain with Black Lives Matter and the movement, that they honor this being who was murdered. And to have this on a wall in the city of Denver is a way of shamanic experience through art as well, through honoring. And I wanted to end this way and just drum as I say goodbye. And thank you all for being here. And thank you all for receiving the beauty and the mysticism and the magic of art. Thank you.
Well, I certainly hope you enjoyed that presentation by Christina Pateros. I hope you found it inspiring and helpful for your spiritual journey. Next week, we will have with us Swati Maske, who will be speaking on Boost Your Immunity with Ayurveda. And of course, we have, as I said at the beginning of this evening's talk, many other programs, and I'd like to take this opportunity to mention two in particular. One is a workshop on Saturday, June 27, from 1 to 3 p.m. This will be an online interactive workshop, and it'll be with Suzanne Giesman on Discover Your Soul's Purpose, Tools to Access Universal Consciousness. Suzanne Giesman is a messenger of hope who shares the awakened way, a path to knowing who you are and why you're here. She has quite a remarkable career background. Suzanne was a former U.S. Navy commander who served as a commanding officer and aide to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Quite impressive. Then another one I wish to recommend is the one being taught by William Meader on Saturday, July 11, from 1 to 3 p.m. Again, an interactive online workshop. This one will be on the solar angel, the soul and its spiritual companion. William Meader is probably one of the most influential and respected international teachers of esoteric philosophy. He is well known to our community, a wonderful person, a wonderful teacher, always very inspiring and authentic. I do hope that you will consider registering for these 2 workshops. And of course, please look at the other offerings that we have available to you. It is our way to support you in your spiritual journey, and it is a way in which you can continue to support the Theosophical Society at this time. Thank you so much for being with us this evening. Stay safe and be well. Good night.